Alright, what is up, y'all? It is Ravage, your favorite Final Fantasy YouTuber you never heard of. But maybe I should start calling myself your favorite Star Wars YouTuber you never heard of, because man, I have not been uploading much Final Fantasy. And that's my bad. I really should have waited to start uploading Final Fantasy V until the whole thing was done, edited, recorded, all that, but I thought I could get it out in a timely manner. I greatly underestimated how badly I would procrastinate that project, and that is my bad. But my New Year's resolution was to be more consistent with the YouTube uploads, so here's hoping I have the creativity for it. But man, if you want to talk about a motivator to keep that resolution, how well my last two videos did is absolutely a good motivator. But of course, I've been doing these for fun for a little over a year now, so if this one doesn't do as well, there's still going to be another one around the corner, and I appreciate those of y'all who are here. So, with all that said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this right away. So, a while ago, I was reading the book, The Making of the Empire Strikes Back, and by a while ago, I mean a few years ago, okay? This happened a few years ago. I have moved twice since this happened, and in those moves, my copy of this book was lost. So I will be trying to get a hold of a new one, but there will not be any photos of the passages that I'm citing here, sadly. So my source is actually The Making of the Empire Strikes Back, but I do not have any physical proof to put in the video, so if you want to say my sources, trust me, bro, hey, I'm just making this for fun anyway. I'm just some guy on YouTube, who cares? Anyway, but in this book, there is a passage where Lucas was asked to rank everybody by their power in the Force. And he said that Luke Skywalker was a 2, Darth Vader was a 4, Ben Kenobi was a 6, and the Emperor was also a 6, but was on his way to becoming a 10. And that, whoa, did I jump on and contact a really close friend of mine to talk to him about it, because we are both huge Obi-Wan stans. Like, I'm talking, if you ever want to know who my favorite Jedi of all time is, it is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Goat Kenobi, the Sith's Bane, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You understand me? Like, my little brother, one day when we were hyping up Obi-Wan, he just laughs and he goes, "We glaze Obi-Wan the way Satoru Gojo fans glaze Gojo." And I was like, damn, he's right. So if you've ever interacted with the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom, that's how I feel about Obi-Wan, okay? Like, if you've interacted with them and heard them talk about Gojo, that's me with Obi-Wan. So anyway, we're immediately talking about this, and of course, after we're done hyping it up and, you know, being the Obi-Wan stans that we are, we come back to reality and we talk about how this had to change. Like, this could never have been put into official canon, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense for Obi-Wan to have not killed Vader on the Death Star. Or so I thought. Now, of course, I am not saying I support this power scale. It is very seamlessly been, I don't think retconned is the right word, since I guess it was never officially canon. It's a cool tidbit of information to use as a starting point for this train of thought. We'll leave it at that. So, I was thinking about the actual events of Star Wars: A New Hope, which, for those of you who don't know, is my favorite Star Wars film. A New Hope is my absolute favorite. A lot of people, you know, the go-to choices are either Revenge of the Sith or The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm not knocking those at all. Those are both absolutely amazing movies, and in fact, I'm not knocking your favorite, I'm just telling you what mine is. I love, love, love A New Hope. It is just, to me, it is just the perfect Star Wars film. But that's also not the topic of this video. Just know, I think about the events of this movie a lot because I love this movie. And I realized it did not matter if Obi-Wan was stronger than Vader or not. He had to die. More importantly, he had to die when he did. He had to not only die on the Death Star, he had to die in the manner he did on the Death Star. And I'm gonna explain right now. So, the only way the rebels could have gotten out alive is if Obi-Wan lost that fight. Because it was Darth Vader's idea to put a tracking beacon on the Millennium Falcon and let it go. Which is crazy that they sacrificed 4 TIE fighter pilots for that. But, you know, I mean, it's the Empire, it's Darth Vader, 4 lives are expendable. Grand Moff Tarkin was not in favor of this at all. So if you were to compound this with the fact that Moff Tarkin wanted to just execute everyone on board that ship, and now they have somebody on that ship powerful enough to kill Darth Vader, no, that ship's getting blasted out of the sky. He's sending at least like an eighth of the Imperial Navy on the Death Star after them. It doesn't matter how good of a pilot Obi-Wan is. It doesn't matter how good of a pilot Han Solo is. They are not getting out of there. Then, let's say instead of killing Vader, or even instead of incapacitating Vader, Obi-Wan just sees the opening, disengages, gets Vader off of him, and escapes on the Millennium Falcon. Vader doesn't exactly have a good track record of keeping his emotions in check when Obi-Wan is involved. He is absolutely sending the Imperial Navy after the Millennium Falcon, probably hopping in his own personal TIE fighter to chase them down, and blasting that thing out of the sky because Obi-Wan is on that ship. He is getting rid of Obi-Wan. You gotta understand that. And again, it doesn't matter how good of a pilot the two of them are. It doesn't matter how powerful in the Force Obi-Wan is. They're not making it out of that alive. And then there's the fact that Obi-Wan had to die in the manner he did. And I just want to take a break here real quick and say, maybe somebody else has done this video, right? Like maybe some of you guys have already seen this video. The Star Wars fandom is huge. The YouTube presence is huge. But you know what? If somebody else has done this video, we're going to call it Convergent Evolution, because I was so hyped when I figured this out myself. All the layers that went into Obi-Wan's death. Sorry, I get hype over this. Like I said, a huge Obi-Wan fanboy here. One of my top 3 fictional characters of all time, actually. If y'all want to know what my top 3 are, comment down below and I'll let you know. But Obi-Wan had to die where everybody could see him die. The rebels had to see him die because, for starters, he knew Luke would, excuse me, Luke, you my boy, but you were not exactly emotionally stable at this point of the movie. Luke would throw a tantrum and say that, and just throw a fit that they had to wait for Obi-Wan. But there was also a chance that Leia would insist they had to wait for Obi-Wan. Leia had the idea to ask Obi-Wan for help to begin with. As far as she was concerned, he was their Goku. He was their ace in the hole. They had to see him die, so they would not wait up. So they wouldn't wait for him. They see him die. They know there's nothing else tethering them to the Death Star. Get in the Millennium Falcon and get the fuck out of Dodge. Get out of there. But he also had to drag that fight out as long as he did, because at one point in the fight, towards the end of the fight, all of the stormtroopers in the hangar where the Millennium Falcon is being held run over to spectate the fight. And let's be honest, they were not running over to help Vader. They all just freaking stood there. They were like, fight, 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 fight. And I don't blame them. You know how cool it would be to actually see Lord Vader himself draw his blade and somebody else draws a blade against him? Oh my god, I would lose my shit if I was an Imperial. I'd be like, oh my god. But besides that, all the stormtroopers went to spectate that fight, so the rebels had a clear path into the Millennium Falcon, no resistance. So all in all, Obi-Wan's death was this perfect storm that gave the rebels what they needed to escape. And I'm gonna be so real with you. Without Princess Leia, the rebellion would have been lost. Kind of crazy. She's a 19-year-old, and she's like the best general they have, especially now that Bail Organa's dead. Go figure. Obi-Wan had to die. It doesn't matter if it never got changed that he was stronger than Vader or not. His death had to happen for the rebels to win. And his death had to happen in the way it did for the rebels to win. It was the only possible answer. Well, besides Obi-Wan just not getting caught to begin with, but there's only so much you can do when Darth freaking Vader himself can sense your presence. But I'm not very good at closers, never have been, but man, I hope this video at least helps you guys appreciate A New Hope a little more, or maybe understand why it's my favorite a little more. And if it does, oh boy, do I have other reasons for why it's my favorite. I got stories to tell you, but those can be saved for another video. I've been Ravage, your favorite Final Fantasy / Star Wars YouTuber you never heard of. And just remember,
the Force will be with you.
Always.
Always.